Hello, welcome friends. Congratulations, we have reached to chapter 10. Now these last chapters are going to be very technical, or you can say very practical or very implementation oriented, because whatever basics you had to learn in Java we have already covered in the subsequent chapters. Now what is remaining is to use those basics to create some advanced level systems. Okay, so let's talk about microservices. To talk about microservices, first of all, I will take an example of an e-commerce application. Suppose you are building a e-commerce application. Okay, you know Java, you know Hibernate, you know Spring. You are pretty capable of building an application. So you decide to build an application. Okay, so you create a user module which contains all the information about the user. Then you create a product module. Okay, then you create an order module. Then you create cart module. So product module have all the functionalities related to product management, how to show product information. Similarly, order module has all the functionalities related to placing orders. How will you place orders? How will you take the payments? How will you send the order confirmation email? And then how will you inform the shipping guys to deliver the order? And then there is returns as well. How many items are added in your cart? All the complexities involved, that is there. Then you can have payment functionalities. Then you can have inventory, and you can have other e-commerce functionalities. Okay, and where is your data stored? So there is a database that you have configured. Okay, it can be whatever, MySQL, NoSQL, it can be Postgres, it can be MySQL, it can be Oracle, it can be NoSQLs like MongoDB and Cassandra. It can be whatever you have decided is decided, and then you have implemented all this. Okay, so there are many challenges in this system that you have implemented. First of all, if you think about an e-commerce application, a user will see 100 products and then he will buy one or two products. So there is lot of traffic related to seeing the product, only to see the product. Okay, so regarding the product related functionalities, there is a lot of traffic. But here what is happening is that suppose there is too much incoming traffic, you have to upgrade your servers. So you create one more server having the same application. Okay, so in this server also there will be all the modules, not just product. However, the traffic is only for products, because lot of people are viewing lot of products. They are ordering very less. Some people are not ordering at all, but they are viewing. And New Year comes or any festival sale comes, suddenly abruptly lot of people are viewing lot more products. So you have to scale your servers. Okay, you have to add more servers, and you have to deploy this application everywhere. Okay, so wherever you are deploying, everywhere all the functionality is getting deployed. It is not like only product functionality is getting deployed. However, the traffic is only for product, but all the functionalities are getting deployed. I hope you get my point. My point is that when you want to scale your application, you have to scale everything. You have to scale all the modules. Okay, this is one challenge. And one more thing. Now, all these modules, all these scaled up servers will create connections to your database. Okay, there is one single database. So maximum connections will be for product view. Now there will be a challenge for connection for other modules, payment, inventory, cart, user. So my point is that increased traffic on the product module will affect the performance of other modules. Why? Because we have a limited number of connections that we can create to the database. Okay, and all of them are getting used by product. Other modules are getting very less number of connections. However, the most critical, what is the most critical functionality for your e-commerce application? The most critical is payment, priority number one. Why? Because if you will not get the money, how will you run your business? The most important point is to get the money. Okay, now performance of payment module will suffer because of increased load on the product service. Okay, whenever you upgrade your servers, you have to upgrade for all the servers, and traffic on one particular functionality will affect performance of other functionality as well. Okay, and suppose that you hired a vendor to implement the user module, another vendor build the product module, other one to do the order, and one of the vendors did very low quality work. So there were a lot of defects, there were a lot of problems, there were a lot of errors. So you want to rewrite the user, you fire that vendor and you go to the other vendor who did some good work, you ask please rewrite this one for me. But whenever he will make changes, this changes to the user module will affect all the other modules, because Eventually it is one application, everything is living inside that application. So this is the third problem. Okay, changes in one module will affect other modules because everything is packaged as a single application. Fourth problem is, suppose that you had written this complete project in .NET and everything is working fine, but now you want to write one module in Java. Is it possible? No. Either you write everything in Java, either you write everything in .NET, or you write everything in Node. You cannot say that I will write the user module in Node, payment product in Java, order in .NET, and then some other in Go language. You cannot do that. Okay, because it is packaged as one application, you have to choose a technology stack, and you're right. So these are some traditional problems that Monolith, this is called Monolith. Okay, this kind of system is called Monolith, where all functionality lives together. So I told you 3 or 4 challenges. Okay, where all the functionalities live together is getting packaged as a single product and getting deployed. It is called a monolith, and this is the problems or challenges that a monolith application faces. To solve these challenges, microservices emerged. Okay, so let's see what is microservice. Microservice system, you will have the product module. It will have its own database. Okay, you will have order module, so it will have its own database. Similarly, you will have payment, it will have its own database. Inventory, it will have its own database. So you are breaking a big module in some small functionalities, in small different applications which have their own database. They own their own data. Another big problem here is that this database schema becomes very large because it has lot of data: order data, product data, inventory data, payment data, user data, card. So it becomes very complex to manage as well. Okay, these are some classical disadvantages of monolith applications. So here what happens, you have small different services deployed independently. Okay, and all of them can communicate with each other. Okay, there are different modes of communication we will see in the subsequent modules, but here you need to understand how it is managed and how it is deployed. Okay, now one advantage is, because earlier there was increased traffic for product service, so you can continue to increase servers for product service. So you are only increasing servers for product service because there is only increased traffic for product service. So other services don't require that high number of servers because there is not much traffic. So you are saving on the server cost. And suppose you want to rewrite your inventory service in other language, Java or .NET or Node, whatever, you can switch. Even in initial implementation, you can write your product service in Java, you can write your order service in .NET, you can write your payment service in Node. Doesn't matter. There are some common protocols like REST and async. So using these protocols, these services can talk to each other in some common language. They can talk in JSON. They can also talk in XML. The preferred one is JSON. So using this common language, they can talk to each other. And now increased traffic on product service will only create connections on the product database. So it will not affect the performance of other services also. Okay, because order has its own connection to its own database, payment has its own connection to its own database, so it will not affect the performance of other services. Individual services can scale up and scale down according to their traffic. You can choose technologies that you want, and increased traffic on one service doesn't affect the performance of any other service. And due to some error, suppose that your payment service goes down due to some error, at least you are still able to place orders, you are still able to show products, you are still able to manage your inventory. Here, if payment service was down, it could affect performance of other services as well. There could be a chance that nothing will work. You have to make the fix, you have to restart your application. So while you are restarting your application, everything is down. Here, if you want to fix and restart this payment service, only payment will go down. The rest of the services will still be functional, still be working. Okay, and you can fix your payment service and you can restart. Only payment will be down. Your system is more distributed, it is less centralized. Okay, so this is the concept of microservices. Okay, let's go through their advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages of microservices is independent deployability. Another is scalability. Individual services can scale by themselves. Then there is team autonomy, which means one team can own product, one team can own inventory, one team can own some other service. So ownership can be established easily between teams. Then there is resilience, which means that if payment service goes down, the rest of the services are still up. In case of monolith, if something goes down, everything goes down. So there is more resilience, more stability in the system. Fifth is technology flexibility. So you can choose a particular technology for each service. Each service can be built in any technology that you want. Okay, after advantage, there are some disadvantages as well. Let's see disadvantages. First one is complexity. It becomes a more complex system to manage, which is obvious because there are many deployments, there is communication between them. Now, since services are communicating to each other over the network, there will be some slowness or some latency. Earlier, it was simply a code direct method call, but now things are going over the network. There will be some slowness in the system. Okay, third is observability, which means it is difficult to find out where the problem lies, whether it lies in order service, whether it lies in product service, or it lies in inventory service, or it lies in payment service. It is very difficult to find out the root cause. Earlier it is simply one application, so you can debug it and try to find out, but here you have to correlate and then debug each of them separately to find out. Okay, fourth is data consistency. So earlier there was a one single database, so you can establish a stronger coupling between tables, more foreign key indexes, more tightly coupled relational kind of data structure, so data can be more consistent. Here it could be less consistent. For example, it could be that order service shows order successful but payment services failed. You must have experienced this in Amazon as well, or any e-commerce site as well. So somewhere it says payment successful and it says order failed, or it says order successful, it says payment failed, or you see the inventory of the product, but when you try to buy the product, you are not able to buy the product. So data cannot be that consistent as compared to a monolith application. Okay, and fifth is testability. It is difficult to test a microservice system as compared to a monolith, because in monolith you are testing one application, but in microservices you have to test 5, 6 or 7 different applications. Okay, so these are the pros and cons of microservices. We explained you the concept of microservice, how it is different from monolith services, and how the advantages outweigh the disadvantage. So people are moving more and more towards microservices now. So this is all for this modules. We'll learn more about microservices in the coming module.